Hello, you are watching or listening to Rewriting Life's Canvas with me, your host, Esther. Thanks for joining me. I honestly do not take for granted all the support and love that I get from the podcast, the engagement, everything. I don't take it for granted because I just think you could just spend your time doing so many other things and you are here with me. So thank you very much. Just to start off with a bit of admin, please kindly like this video if you're watching the video. If you're watching on or listening on Spotify, kindly leave me a 5-star review. Do you know there's people, you guys know, episode 4 now, I feel like you guys are getting a hint or a glimpse actually into how my brain works. It jumps between thoughts. I say something and mid-sentence, I think of something else, but then I'll come back to it. The other day, I was speaking to my sugaring lady. She's if you want to, as a lady, as a woman, if you want to do sugaring treatments, because she only works on women, but if you want to do sugaring treatments and you need somebody, message me, please. The lady, sugaring has changed my life. I've stopped doing hot waxes and stuff like that. Once in a while, if I'm very desperate, I will, if my lady's not available, but mainly I do sugaring now as a form of hair removal and I absolutely love it. It's kinder to the skin. One time I actually did it on myself as well. I was able to do it on my legs and my underarms. And I was so proud of myself. I haven't done it since then, but I was so proud of myself. But anyway, and she gives really great service. So I was saying to her how, I think she's got 5 stars, but I think there's one person who left 4 stars. And when I read the comments, they were like, oh, this is great. She's so lovely. This was perfect. I will be back. Why didn't you leave 5 stars then? I'm so intrigued by people like that. That like you like a service, you love a service, and you wouldn't, like, it's like they feel like, why should they have to leave you 5 stars? Sometimes when I'm reading, because do you know what actually, big up the people who leave reviews, whether it's for a holiday, whether it's for clothing, whether it's for products, skincare stuff, people who leave reviews are the unsung heroes of our society. They are the unsung heroes. Not all heroes wear capes. You're a hero. If you leave reviews, you're a hero. Because I always look for reviews, especially with clothes as well. I want to know how this fits. I want to know if it's true to size. I want to know if it stretches a bit. I want to know if I need to size down, size up. Love it. People who leave reviews, if that is you, may your cup never be empty. May your toast never run out of butter. So dumb. But anyway, yeah, so please kindly leave me a 5-star review on Spotify if you're listening. I think you can do the same on Apple Podcasts as well. So please kindly do that. Also on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to my channel. You can also follow the podcast on TikTok and Instagram at Rewriting Life's Canvas. And you are more than welcome to write into me, EST at rewritinglifescanvas.com. So let's get into today's the matter at hand. Actually, no, first of all, right, so I was at the cinema the other day and I watched a film called Call of My Life. So basically, it's a Nigerian film and it's just coming to the UK. And I was so excited because nothing I love supporting more than women doing great things. I love supporting Black, but I love supporting women. And the writer's a woman, the director's a guy, Dammy Twitch, but I think the producer is also a woman as well. But anyway, whatever the case is, I had really, really great reviews on it. I saw really great reviews actually on Nigerian Twitter, I would say. Nigerian Twitter, and I was looking forward to it. Also, it's a rom-com. As a lover girl, I love a good rom-com. I love the cringiness of it. I love the cringy stuff. I love when I roll my eyes and I'm just like, girl, oh gosh. Don't be silly. I love it all. I love it all. I love it. And it's a lovely, lovely, lovely rom-com. It's only showing in Odeon cinemas, I believe. So if you can, go and check it out. It's a really, really good film. Also, it's so wholesome seeing like old, when I say old, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but I mean like legendary Nollywood actresses. So it's got Nkem Owo, who a lot of people would know as Osofia, because he played Osofia in London. That was like one of his biggest films. He's had so many films. My mum loved all the films with him. So I've watched so many things with him. I think that man is absolutely hilarious. He's so flipping funny. So it's got him in it, and it's also got Patience Ozokwan. Patience is a living meme. She's a living meme in black households. All the black households, regardless of where you're from. You might not know her name, but trust me, you know her face. And she tends to play like the wicked stepmom and stuff. And I've heard she's so lovely. I've heard she's so lovely and so sweet in person, which is just great. Because why should she be her character that she plays on TV? But anyway, it's got both of them in there. And it was so wholesome because I've grown up obviously watching things that they've been in. Like when I say grown up, I mean as a very little girl. So it was just so wholesome to be watching this film that's sold out in the youth. That was what premiere night was sold out. I think it was sold out for 3. I think you had 3 screenings on the first day, and it was sold out. And it's going to be in other places of the UK as well. So if you're like in Manchester, Sheffield, wherever, just check it out. But it was so wholesome to be watching this amazing thing that I know they worked very, very hard on, but also to see legends involved with it, because I haven't heard of the writer before. I haven't heard of the other female. I think she's the director, Blessing. I haven't heard of them. I've heard of Dami Twitch, but I can't remember where from. I don't know if it's music, maybe. No, I think he does music videos. I think that's how I've heard of him. But it was just so wholesome to then see them and they're getting older. I don't know what I mean, but it was such a wholesome and very warm feeling to just see them and just see them being legends and see them acting with younger people who are maybe at the ages that maybe they probably started out or they were at the prime of in their careers, and they were just so great. Like they played their roles so beautifully, and I just thought, gosh, this is why you're a legend. This is why you're legends. This is why you're legends. So let's always give our legends their roses, give them their flowers whilst they're still alive to smell them. Beautiful stuff. But anyway, I love the film. I'm not going to spoil it because I actually think people should watch it. It's really, really good. I want to go watch it again. I watched it on the premiere night. I just thought it was going to be in the cinema then. I didn't know there was going to be a whole press thing to it. And it was a lot of commentary. Love my Nigerians. Not going to lie, it was a lot of commentary. It was a lot of oohs and ahs and signs, and it was a lot of audience participation. It was because I remember I sat next to these 2 friends, these guys, and the guy was like, I don't understand what's going on here. I said, neither do I. Neither do I. It was a lot. There was a girl sat in front of me. Sorry. She doesn't know what I look like anyway, so it don't even matter. I don't even know what she looks like. She was annoying. She was so annoying. And she was watching the film like she was in her living room, just doing commentary, just chit-chatting. I was like, we're in a cinema. We're in a cinema. There's a cinema etiquette here. Anyway, I say all of that to say I'm going to go back and watch it again. I'm going to go back and watch it again because it's really, really good and I really want to take it in, but it was really, really good. It was so funny. It was like, it has all those cringy moments in rom-coms, which I love, man, which I love. And I think it's a film that I think is so comforting to watch. It's one of those films that you always go back to. Like for me, one of those ones for me is Think Like a Man. I have watched Think Like a Man so many thousand times. I have. I probably know every word in the film, but there's just certain things that you watch that are just so comforting, and you never really get sick. Even though you know the storyline and everything, you never really get sick of it. I would say is one of those things. So big up the cast and crew for that. That was really, really great. And I think just getting to see Black people break into industries that are so hard to break into will always, always warm my heart. So yeah, Call of My Life, check it out. It's really good, and big up the film. But you guys know I'm a deep thinker. I'm a deep thinker. Who am I to go somewhere, watch something, and not pick out lessons from it or not pick out life things from it? Because do you know what it is? I believe that film and TV and media always is a reflection of our real lives. I do. Like sometimes it might feel very outlandish. Sometimes it might feel very dramatic. It might feel like things that no one really can do. But when I tell you there was audience participation because people could relate. People could relate to being with a man. The girls, because it wasn't really the guys. The guys were more laughing at the jokes and stuff like that. But the girls, I feel like some of the girls were triggered. Some of the girls were triggered. They had a little bit of PTSD. They could relate, man. They could relate. I can relate. But I'm not I don't want to spoil the film or whatever. So what I do want to talk about though, which isn't really a spoiler, and as you guys know, I am very big on rewriting your life's canvas. I really believe that the way we're raised, I think the older you get, you should always look back and reflect, sort through, pick and choose, dump and let go of things that you don't like. Do you know what I mean? So I did that. I did that while watching the film. And so this is not a spoiler, right? But the main character, who is also the writer of the film, come to find out at the end, that was really cool actually. Because the cast came in at the end of it. But I think her name is Uzumaka Power, I think her name is. Apologies if I got that wrong. But so yeah, the main character, she's a very lovey-dovey, I love. I'm so happy and whimsical, and my life is one big romance. I love it. I absolutely love it, right? That's the vibe she was on in the film. And she was with the wrong guy. And it just made me think about the psychology. No, actually, this is how my thought process started. I was wondering what psychologists would say about women intentionally being with people that they have no business being with. What they would say about why it is that women ignore red flags in relationships, and how how you're just so adamant and you just remain in a place that you have no business being in. Like, that this person doesn't give you what you want, but yet here you are. You know that this person cannot love you in the way that you would like to be loved, but yet here you are. I'm very intrigued on that. I'm very intrigued on the science, not the science, sorry. I'm very intrigued on the psychology of that. Like, why do women do that? Why do we stay in relationships that we have no business staying in? Why do we entertain people that we have no business entertaining? This is why I am very pro moving to men. This has been my ministry. This was my ministry on No Shade Podcast. This was my ministry on the morning show the day after. And this is my ministry on Rewriting Life's Canvas. I will tell you guys why I am very pro moving to men, because I hear more women say that they grew to like a man than I've ever heard a man say, I grew to like her. Because actually, when I think about it now, there was a wave. I think it was last year. There was a wave of men, hate to say it, Christian men on podcasts talking about how much it is that they hated and despised their wives at the beginning. And if I'm being honest with you guys, if we're going to call a spade, looking back now, sorry, not looking back now, but watching those episodes in real time after they'd recorded it, it didn't look like their actions really changed. It just looked like they've grown spiritually and are more convicted now to not express the strong dislike towards their wives. Because men will be very quick to say, oh, she's not really my type. I spoke about this last episode. She's not really my type, but, she just makes sense. She'll be a good mother one day. And women will have a guy that is not their type, not their vibe, not anything they like that. And it works out for some people. It does work. I've seen some beautiful relationships blossom. But I'm always intrigued by just the fact that you've just chosen to entertain somebody that you had nothing in common with, didn't like the look of, not in a rude way, of course, but they weren't your, I'm going to say spec. They weren't your spec. I love when Nigerians say spec. They weren't your spec, right? You weren't attracted to them. I'm very intrigued on what makes you what makes you entertain that? Like, what makes you go so far in that you then get to a point where you're like, you know what, actually, not really a bad guy, Oh yeah, I just grow to like him. So I'm always hearing women talk about growing to like men, and I'm not really here for it. I think it works out for some people, but I just think, why? Why grow to like when I can just like from the start? Do you know what I mean? So anyway, this is why I'm pro moving to men. Let's get back. You guys know how my brain works, all right? Follow me. Be here with me. This is why I am very pro moving to men, because I think that if you never move to guys that you like, that you are intrigued by, that you like the look of, you will only ever be with men that chose you and men that you did not choose. And yes, we could say that, yeah, if obviously in a manner of speaking, you did kind of pick them because you wouldn't be with them if you also didn't choose them. But that's down the line. And again, it goes back to the whole, growing to like somebody, growing to love somebody. I think that even if you are going to end up with someone that you did grow to like, which again is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It isn't, right? Because I think that sometimes the things that we say we want are not actually what it is that we want. The things that we say we want sometimes are based off other people's or society's trends and other people's views and other people's projections. Because your type isn't always, and sometimes you're not your type's type. There's that hard truth as well. That's difficult for people to hear, but sometimes you are not your type's type. A lot of girlies love Michael B. Jordan. Very handsome man. Actually, I'm not going to use him. And we use him, actually. It still works, right? There's someone who we all love very dearly. I'll get back to him in a second. I'll give you that example. But a lot of women think Michael B. Jordan is very attractive, which he is. And they would think, I want a real life Michael B. Jordan. But then would you be a real life Michael B. Jordan's type? That's a whole other conversation. The other man I was going to talk about, who is an absolute legend in acting and in just being a handsome man, Morris Chestnut. Oh, everybody loves Morris Chestnut. His wife is the strongest soldier going, because everyone loves that woman's man. Very wholesome married man as well. Never heard a scandal about him. But everybody loves Morris Chestnut. But Morris Chestnut loves the one woman he loves. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get where I'm going with this? Anyway, move to men. Move to men so that you are not stuck in your life only ever being with men that picked you first. Do you know what I mean? Like, really and truly, if you're getting picked first, did you really do the picking? Or were you just at some point happy to be picked and just said, you know what, okay, fair enough, I'll go with the picking. Move to men. I'm so pro moving to men. I've moved to a few men in my time. Tell you that for free. I think I've moved to 3 or 4 men in my time. And sometimes as well, like moving to it's just shooting your shot sometimes. Sometimes it's just putting yourself in a position. Because obviously, I feel like typically anyway, because the reality of it, right, is a double standard thing. And women do have that benefit, is that if you approach a guy, because of how society is wired, the guy is always going to feel more pressure to be the one to keep the conversation going anyway. So even if you just say hello, that the way the conversation is going to go is going to feel as if he's the one who talked to you in the first place anyway. So for that reason alone, there isn't really much to do. You can step out. Step out in faith. Step out in step out in love. And talk to the guy that you think is very attractive. You see that man and you think he looks intriguing. Let me find out. And it doesn't always mean, of course, it's going to be great. That man might have a girlfriend. And that's okay. You won't die. Because I always say as well, I'm sorry, I feel bad for men sometimes. I do, because the pressure, there's a lot of pressures that men go through in society that I don't agree with. If I ever had a son, I would not be raising him with certain mindsets that men are raised with. I think it's so sad, and I feel really, really sad and horrible and bad for men, the kind of pressures that they have to live with. But I think when it comes to relationships and dating and stuff, that's one of the double standards that women, I think we can enjoy. Like, the very least we could do is move to the guy. Just say hello to the guy. So in the past, I have done that. And actually, the relationship I'm in now is because, well, to be fair, my intention wasn't to be in a relationship with this man. When I say I didn't move to him in that regard to I didn't put myself in a position for him to ask me out. It's just as life would have it, as the good Lord would have it, right? It just happened. But again, it's not being shy to just start a conversation with somebody. And that's it. It's just, oh, hello, da-da-da-da, like just a simple conversation. I've moved to 3 men in my time. No regrets. Zero regrets. Obviously it didn't work out, but that never put me off. Like, that never put me off. And there's guys I moved to as well where I'm just like, they seemed a bit more interesting at the time of me moving to them than when we started having conversations. I thought, it's not for me. It's not for me. I will say though, I haven't had a guy reject me, because I think what holds a lot of women back is a rejection. Is, oh my gosh, what if he says no? Or what if he's not into me, blah, blah, blah. And I think rejection builds character. You know, we're all fine with getting rejected from work or from jobs that we've applied to. Rejection builds character, right? So it's not the worst thing in the world. But I just think it's not that bad. I forgot what I was going to say. That's the honest truth. Never going to lie. I'm not glitching. I just forgot where I was taking that point about rejection. But anyway, yeah, what holds a lot of women back is the rejection. And I think that it's not the worst thing. That's what I was going to say. I feel bad for men. doing a podcast by myself, I have to remind, like, it's amazing though, because God placed me here. So I'm very grateful because the Holy Spirit always reminds me of what I'm saying. Always reminds me, like, I'm very amazed at how it is I'm able to recall where I was going, especially with how my brain works, where I'm here. Like, it's just, you know that meme of the lady with mental maths and she's just doing a lot of, that's me, that's how my brain works. But anyway, I feel bad for guys because they have to face rejection all the time. Like, they will move to a girl and she's like, oh no, thank you, I'm not interested. And back in the day, just to get guys to stop talking to us, we say like, oh, I'm a lesbian. Do you know what I mean? So I feel bad for guys because sometimes girls is like, oh no, thank you. Because some of you are weird as well. I would love to not throw that in there, but I have to. Fair is fair. Some of you are weird. Move to men. Anyway, back to the topic. So it made me think about why it is that women intentionally and so blatantly ignore what it is that they know they want. And thinking about it all, I came to the conclusion that that's actually how women are raised. That is how the girl child is raised. Do you know how confident and assertive men are in society from when they're little boys? From when they're little boys, of course, this is not a blanket statement for everybody, but for the most part, boys are raised to be confident, raised to be assertive, raised to say my no is my no and my yes is my yes. Women, on the other hand, the girl child is not. We are raised to make compromises from when we're very young. We're raised to constantly have to consider everybody else's feelings, everybody else's feelings with the things that we want. We're raised to constantly have to worry about how the things that we want, the things that we desire will affect everybody else. And it's so interesting, actually, because I was listening to I Said What I Said, Love I Said What I Said. And they briefly talked about, I think it might have been the last episode, I can't remember now, but they briefly talked about this trend of women saying they want to decenter their husbands. And it's so interesting because as soon as they said it, before, I think it was Jola that brought it up, but before Jola got into the full explanation, I knew exactly what she meant. I knew exactly what it was she meant. I've seen some TikToks of stuff like that anyway, to be fair, because she was talking about TikToks that she had seen. But I knew exactly what she meant. Women are raised to be conformists. We're raised to just conform to whatever it is that's going on around us. We're raised to just be grateful for whatever it is that we're given. Because do you know what's so crazy? Women are raised, like girls are raised with the mindset that you're going to be a mother one day and you're going to be a wife one day. And being a mother and being a wife essentially is a synonym for being sacrificial, for making sacrifices. Like the woman is always the one who's expected to make sacrifices. Being Nigerian, I've seen situations where, and it's again, TV media, reflected in media, where, for example, if a family don't have that much money, they're poor, it's a thing where, oh, the man has to eat, has to have the best, like he gets to have majority and everybody else will just have whatever's left over. Because, well, they say, well, because he's the breadwinner. He'll be right, you're an adult. These are children. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, women are raised and girls are raised to be conformists. Guys are raised to be outspoken. And we actually see that in the workplace. That's why there's a disparity in the way that women and men are paid in the workplace for doing the same job. Men will not be shy to say, excuse me, I need a raise. Or I'm not happy, blah, 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 blah. They'll be very happy and very open to just open their mouth. But women are very shy and, oh, we don't want to come across this way. And I know that within this conversation, there's also stereotypes that are placed on men and women that can have an effect on other things. And in the workplace, for example, like black men being seen as aggressive and black women as well being seen as aggressive, black loud women. There are things like that as well. But generally speaking, there's just a thing about men being more outspoken and the benefits that they enjoy in society really, really reflects that. And it's so sad. And I think that's why women then end up growing. That's how girls end up growing into women who then end up being in positions, in relationships that is just so unfulfilling. But you haven't been raised to have a voice. You haven't been raised to find your voice. You haven't been raised to use your voice. So of course you're just going to kind of go with the flow. Of course you're going to be grateful for whatever crumbs of love that you receive once in a while, whilst you're constantly pouring yourself into it. And that's another thing, because the way women are just raised to constantly have to give. I was having this conversation with my mum the other day, and I was saying about what were we I can't remember what we were talking about, but it was to do with marriages and to do with women in general and to do with mothers and to do with just women in general, relationships, everything. And I was saying the issue with relationships is that there will never be equality in relationships, right? In some. I think a lot of women are waking up and they're able to, I think you can achieve that in your relationship if that's what you want to achieve. Especially if you're with a man who is clued on and who understands social issues like I'm discussing, right? Not all men are the same. But I was saying to her that a lot of women carry a lot of baggage for their families, for the home, that goes unspoken and goes unappreciated. And in sociology, I studied sociology in sixth form and in university. And it's called emotional labor. A lot of women do a lot of emotional labor, but the issue with emotional labor is that you can't exactly, I know it's emotional labor because I've studied emotional labor, but to anybody else, it's very hard to describe what you're talking about. Women carry so much burdens, right, for their family, caring about other people and always putting themselves last. And you will feel that strain. You will feel drained. And if you're asked why are you drained, you can't say that, well, I went out to work and earned this amount of money and like you can't pinpoint, there isn't physical proof. There's a word I'm trying to think about and I can't remember what the word is, but there isn't physical proof of what it is that you've been doing. There's emotional proof though. And then when you then want to then explain that to people, you almost look like, don't really like this word, but you look like a bitch. Because everyone is just looking at you like, yeah, but you're a mother. Shouldn't you be doing that? Yeah, but you're a wife. Shouldn't you care about your partner? Yeah, but you're a sister. Shouldn't you care and take care of your siblings? Emotional labor goes unnoticed. Emotional labor is not something that you can't quantify it. And so because you can't quantify it, it's hard to speak on it. And it's hard for people to understand that you need that. It's hard for people to understand how much effort and how draining that is. This is why I also don't like that people talk about stay-at-home mums and dads, but I'm going to talk about mums as if it's nothing. As if it's nothing. Like it's what you're meant to do. You're a mother though. And there was that very stupid man that said that to Kiki Palmer. You're a mother though. Like this is what you're meant to be doing though. Like what is the guilt in you? How can you feel guilty? Or how can you complain about being a mother? How can you complain about being a wife? How can you complain about taking care of your home? Isn't that what you should be doing? Because when you think about it, being a stay-at-home mother, every single thing that stay-at-home mums do is a career. There's people that like it's a whole industry. Is it cleaning the house? Is it solely cleaning the house? That's a maid. That's a cleaner. People get paid to do that. Is it being a sole watcher of the children, a sole carer of the children? That's someone that babysits. That's a nanny. People get paid for that. Is it even organizing the affairs of the home? That's a what are they called? That's a house manager. Emotional labor goes unnoticed, and it's a thankless job. And demand the thanks. Please demand the thanks. Please demand the thanks. But yeah, it just really had me thinking. I really just got to the. I thought it was very important. Like, this is how my brain works anyway. I like to peel back and try and understand how it is that we got somewhere. And I just thought, yeah, like, of course, you will be an adult woman who is compromising on relationships and with people that you know you shouldn't be with, that bring no benefit to your life. Of course, you will be doing that because that's how you were raised. And it's so interesting because that was one of my fears about Do you know what? Very vulnerable moment. Because I was going to talk about that being my fear of being a mother, which I've talked about before. Well, lightly talked about on TDA, on the day after, but also talked about on No Shade. And I've never really opened up fully about it. But there's also a fear. This is the vulnerable part. There's also a fear for me when it comes to marriage. I don't worry about marriage in terms of divorcing, because child, watch the last episode and let one go. Let it go. Right. Obviously, I know I'm speaking about it so blasé and so, flippantly, but I know it does take a lot. But please, when you think of pros and cons, pros and cons, right? And even as a Christian, I just believe that there's certain reasons why divorce is allowed. Please do not be in a domestic violence situation and think that God wants you to stay there. God does not want you to be killed by the sicko that you're married to, right? That's just, I have to say that. But anyway, so there is that fear, not like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. But there's a fear with marriage and motherhood that I feel. I don't feel it as much anymore, actually. And I don't feel it as much anymore, to be fair, actually, for reasons where I picked a partner, or I'm with a partner, I would say, who is progressive in how he thinks, right? Which is a big bonus. But also, I've done self-work when it comes to the motherhood part. Like, if it is something, being a mother is not something I'm not dying for it. I'm not gagging for it. If it happens, fine. It's not something I'm setting out to do in life. It's not something it's not on my to-do list. I can think of probably 10 other things I like to do. Before I do that, one of them is go to the Maldives. Do you know what I mean? It's not a thing for me. It's not a big thing for me. But when I was in therapy, that was one of the things that I wanted to learn more about. I wanted to really talk about and get to the bottom of, in the event that I do end up being a mother, right? I'd want to be a great mom. I'd want to be a wonderful mom. I wouldn't want to project my insecurities or anything like that on my children. I'd want to be understanding. I'd want to be a great mom, right? So anyways, back to the whole fears thing. I'm a first daughter in my family. I've got an older brother, but I'm the first girl. And as the first girl, there has been a lot of emotional labor that I've carried, right? And unfortunately, I would say, actually, yeah, I can say that. I grew up with, my mum was a single mum for the longest time. She's married now, but she was a single mum for the longest time and whatever else. And even growing up, there's times that I didn't live with my mum and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so there's a lot of emotional labor, especially having younger sisters as well. I was labeled very young as the second mum. Hated it. I think there were times in my life where I found it flattering. And I felt happy that I was trusted. I felt happy that I was trusted. I felt happy that I can be depended on. I've always been a dependable person. And there have been times in my life where I've hated it. I'm dependable. I would say I'm dependable in so many parts of my life. And in different parts of my life, there's different moments that's made me hate it. Because I think that being dependable means that I feel like I'm not afforded the same opportunity to make mistakes as other people who are not the dependables have. I also feel like I'm not allowed, like I always have to be on. I always have to be turned on. Okay, that sounds bad. I always have to be on all the time and don't like it's a heavy burden. Again, emotional labor. So growing up as the older sister and whatever else, there's a lot of, I would say, pressures that I felt, a lot of responsibilities that honestly I had no business having. Like if I ever have a child, if I ever have a daughter, one of the things I really look forward to is just raising my daughter to just be, we say she's just a girl. It's just to be just a girl. Like that's one of the things I really look forward to, just my daughter just being my daughter and being cared for in every way and living a soft life and not having to carry these burdens that I had to. Anyway, because of that was one of the reasons why I felt that that's one of the reasons why actually still that I don't really care to have children like that, because I just feel like, always someone something. Always someone something. Like, as a girl, you are your father's child, you're an older sister, then you're groomed, because I believe that's what it is. You're groomed to get married, to be someone's wife one day. Then you end up being someone's wife. Change your last name. Your identity is just supposed to shift from you being you to just being this person's wife. And all of a sudden you're just meant to know what to do and just step into this new role of being a wife, right? Then you have a child. Then it's, you're someone's mum. So you're being someone's wife, being someone's mum, but also still being someone's daughter, because as much as you've got your own personal family now, you're also still meant to care about the wider family. And not just your wider family, but his wider family. Women are always just being someone something. And I find the idea of that draining. And that's why in the first episode, I talked about how it's so amazing how God works, because nothing that I am anyway is by chance. I've thought like this since I was a kid. I've never understood why women would get married and their entire lives change. That's to the point where women get married and all of a sudden now there's a drift. Is it drift or rift? There's a change. I just go with what you know. There's a change now even in your friendships. There's a shift. That's the word, not drift or rift. It's a shift. There's now a shift in your friendships, because your friends feel like, you're married now, so you probably wouldn't have time for them because you've got so much to worry about in your marital home. Girls, please invite me for brunch. I want to come. I want to go out for brunch. I want to be brunching and A-ing and be outside as well. And I think it's so draining as a woman that there's always something. And so that was one of the things that just made me think, I don't think I'd want that. Even marriage, like I love and I'm a lover girl. And I think marriage is absolutely beautiful when done the way God ordained it to be done. But even with marriage, I did feel that insecurity with marriage of, I don't want to have a man child. Like the idea of marriage drained me. Just that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to I don't want to have to take care of somebody. I don't want to have to take care of somebody. I don't want to have to be the one to do the thinking for everybody. And the burden of it all, it was really a thing for me. And I remember talking about the children part in therapy. And I remember one time my therapist was like to me, she's a black woman, older black woman, because I've had two therapists, but she's an older black woman, my first therapist. And she said to me, she said, yeah, but Esther, your children aren't going to be a burden to you. I said, I feel like it's just going to be one more person. And that's how I felt about marriage. So I felt with marriage, it's going to be one more person I have to worry about. The list of people I have to worry about, you're just going to come and add to the list of things that I have to do. And so I feel the same with children, is that this is just going to be something else, somebody else, people else I'm going to have to worry about. And gosh, that's just so draining. And my therapist said to me, yeah, but your children aren't going to be a burden to you in that way. She said to me how everyone I've had to do emotional labor for, care about my siblings, my mom and family and all these things, all the things I've had to be to people. She was like, yeah, but you never asked to play those roles. But when you are going to be a mother, it's going to be different, because that's something that you would have intentionally chosen. Do you know what I mean? So I just one of the things that women have to always deal with, man. And I think it's just so sad. It's so sad because I think for me thankfully I've been able to work through it, because I just always felt that if I ever do have a child, I don't want to see them as a burden. I don't want to see them as something on my to-do list. I don't want to see them as robbing me of my life. And I think that's a real thing for women, for some women anyway. Definitely for me, is feeling that my life will change. My life will no longer be my own if I get married. My life will no longer be my own if I'm a mother. And my life and my world will just always constantly revolve around a husband and children. Even the other day I was on a walk and I was walking behind 3 mums that just dropped their kids to school, and they all had buggies with babies and whatnot. And the conversation was just about their kids. And it's lovely. I think it's so beautiful, of course, having children and everything. And I do feel passionate about children being protected and their innocence, and I think children are so precious. But I'm very aware that children didn't ask to be here. And so because they didn't ask to be here, they should be taken care of and nurtured and loved in such an overwhelming manner, right? However, it's so sad because I see a lot of women become mothers and become children. I think there is like a brain chemistry shift thing to do with our hormones, because I think that we do become very protective of them, which is beautiful. But it's just like, I don't want everything about my life. I don't want the most interesting part of my day to be about my children. I wouldn't want that. I want to have a life outside of that. I want to have a life outside of that. And so that's why that, the conversations with women having now about decentering their husband, decentering their children. Yeah, because there's a counselor I watch on TikTok. Her name is Stella. I can't remember her last name now. Let me get it, because she's she's absolutely brilliant. She's a Christian counselor, and she talks about relationships and stuff. Her name is Stella Katombe, and she's absolutely brilliant. And I saw one of her TikToks, and she talked about how she's dissented her husband and her children. I've got to have a life outside of these people. I think it was her. Apologies if it wasn't her, but I think it was her. But anyway, so yeah, for me, it's no surprise that a lot of women are in relationships that they have no business being in. A lot of women are entertaining things that they have no business entertaining, because it's just a case of, this is how you're raised. Do you know what I mean? I always say, like, being a Nigerian girl, you're raised that you're going to be a mother one day. Everything that you do revolves around the fact that you're going to be a mother one day. Revolves around the fact that you're going to be a wife one day. This is an imaginary man. Imaginary children, they don't even exist. And my entire existence has been made about them. People want to study. People want to buy houses. People want to have very flourishing careers. They want to move countries. And when I say people, I mean women. They want to do these things, and what the first thing some people will say to them is, yeah, but if you do that, you might not find a husband. If you excel so much, you're going to threaten a man that he's going to feel a bit insecure. Do you know what I mean? If you buy a house, yeah, but then what happens when you meet a man, he hasn't got a house, he might fall away, having to move into your house. What are you going to do then? You want to move to you want to just move to Japan. Oh, yeah, but you got to find a husband there. It's so sad how everything about women's lives revolves around that. And I think that's why when women get in relationships with people that are not loving you the way that you want to be loved, oh my gosh, in the most obvious way, don't even ask you about your day, doesn't remember the littlest things about you. That's why you sit there and you just take that. You just take it, and because you're just raised to oppress, or is it repress? Yeah, I don't think it's repress. We're repress. It's to repress the things that you would like. They repress the things that you would ideally want. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's sad. And reality is just that until there's a shift in how women are raised, in how girls are raised as they go into womanhood, until there's that shift, unfortunately things just won't change. This will always be the norm. It will always be the norm for you to compromise in relationships. It will always be the norm for you to let your entire identity shift to being with a man. Even this lovely lady, Stella Katombe, that I was speaking about, she said how she changed her Facebook name because I think this is what her Instagram name is and her TikTok name is, right? And I think her Facebook name was her marital name, was her marital last name. So this is her maiden name. And she changed her Facebook name to what her brand is, essentially, the name that she's built a brand on, Katombe. And she said, obviously, her husband don't care because, again, when you're a woman like that, of course you won't be with nearly swore. You won't be with a useless man. You won't be the man that's so backwards thinking. And so her husband didn't care. He's proud of her. He's proud of the woman that she is. He's proud of his wife, right? So she changed her name on there, and she said she had 2 comments from people. But one of them that she said anyway was that someone was just like, oh, you're embarrassing your husband. You're embarrassing your husband by changing your name to his maiden name. Because she basically did an announcement of, I'm changing my name. We're not having marital problems. We're still together. Love the man. We're not divorced, anything like that. So no panic. It's just because of my brand. And someone told her that, yeah, but you're embarrassing your husband by doing that. But she actually, so interesting because this is, again, this is the thing with what is known and what is labeled as culture and tradition and sometimes falsely biblical, right? She said in her culture, I don't know where she's from, but she said in her culture, in her tribe, within her culture, the women do not take on the man's last name. They don't take on the man's last name. They don't because they said the example she gave was that your grandmother, the women bear the same name. Like they keep the mother's names basically, right? So, for example, she was saying how if you meet somebody and because you've changed, because so me as Esther now, say I've taken on my husband's last name. This is me speaking as if I'm from Stella's culture. If I've taken on my husband's last name, what if the person I meet, or what if this guy that I've met, right? Or my child, what if the guy my child meets is actually her cousin from the mother's side? Stuff like that. I think it's to do with their tribe being small. Like there's not many of them, right? So they keep the name within the culture, within the tribe. And I thought, how interesting, because people look at you sideways when you say you don't want to change your last name, which I think is wild. Because what do you mean I've bear this name all my life? I mean, granted, the name anyway is your father's name. Fun fact though, my last name is not my father's name, actually. Dropped that at 16. Was that 16? Yeah, I was 16. I dropped that at 16. You're not in my life. Why am I carrying your name? Why would I go on to do great things and your name is the one getting the glory? Jesus will get the glory. No, thank you. Pass. But all people look at me sideways when I said I wouldn't want to take my husband's last name, or double barreling your name, or whatever the case is. But you know how crazy it is that as a woman you live all your life identifying with these people, and then they say, "Oh, you're married now. You're one of them. You're married now." Not like everything about your life changes, and it goes back again to the whole thing about with women getting married, and like there's a shift in what your reality now looks like, because your reality is now meant to be focused on just this man, making this man happy, and building this household, and then you have children. It's like now your reality is this man and these children, and then you basically lose your identity, the name that you've always borne, the name that you've always had. You're just supposed to just let that go, and people make it seem as if, oh yeah, like this is the norm, and any woman that doesn't do that is crazy. This is the beauty. This is the beauty of how vast this world is. This is why I said there's someone for everybody. This is why you can't be staying stuck in situations you have no business being in, because there's someone for everybody. There will be a man that if you're someone who doesn't want to change your last name, for example, there'll be a man that you meet that does not care. You are who he wants to be with. I did to the guy that one time that he wanted to have kids so bad, and I love that for him. But I just always felt like I'm gonna be a single mother if I was married to him in this marriage. And then I met a guy who I was like, I'm not really sure if I really want to have kids. And then he's like, okay, you are who I want to be with, not the kids that don't exist yet. We'll cross like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's what it should be. There's someone for everybody. But a lot of the things that we say, oh my gosh, it's the norm, and you're so weird if you think that, oh my gosh, you're so, like, you judge people for. People's cultures are just doing it casually. There's cultures of people walk around naked. Some of you see someone in a mini skirt, you're shaking your boots. Someone for everybody. Someone for everybody. And this is ultimately, like, for me, obviously as a Christian, my focus is always to live a life that glorifies God. That will always be at the forefront of something. And if God does not convict me about something, I'm sorry, no human can. No human can make me feel guilty about what God has told me there's no shame in. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So a lot of these cultural things that we take on by people that existed so long ago and are not around anymore. Why are we in bondage to rules and regulations made by people that are not even around anymore to do these things? Sometimes this is what opening yourself up to other people's cultures and ways of doing things and ways of thinking. Gosh, the ways of thinking. It will really open your eyes to let you see that there's more to life than just what you've only ever known. There's more to life to how it is than you've been raised. There's more to life than just your life's canvas. It's so crazy. This is why I'm so pro questioning things. This is why I'm so pro looking into things and just investigating. Anyway, that's it. That's it. That's all I have today. This is what Call of My Life made me think about. All the lovely things it made me think about. But yeah, if you can, check out the film. It's really, really good. But yeah, that was one of the things I just thought about. I just thought, wow, like, gosh, like, and there's so much in media that really reinforces that. There's so much in media that reinforces women not trusting their own voice. Was it the first episode? It was the first episode when I said about, I don't ask people for their opinions anymore. Don't do it. I don't ask people for their opinions anymore. I need to trust my own voice. I need to trust my own likes and my own dislikes. I'm not going to like something just because my mum has told me to like it or my family has told me to like it. I'm not going to do something just because in this household, in this family, in my lineage, this is what we always do. Might not want to do that actually. I want to test out this other route. Let's see where it takes me. Let's see where it leads. If it doesn't work out, I live and learn. Pick myself back up and I go again. Do you know what I mean? We've got to learn to trust your voice. Learn to trust your own likes and your own dislikes. Question things. Don't go with the flow. Don't just go with the flow in life. It's so unproductive. And how do you grow and how do you evolve? You can't. You simply can't. On the theme of women, for this week's unpopular should be popular opinion, I am tired of women's insecurities being at the forefront of capitalism. I'm tired. And some of them are not even women's, I wouldn't even say women's insecurities. I think some of them are just things that are highlighted and women are being socialized to then be insecure about. Because some of these things are natural. And I'm not being sold on it. Scrolling on TikTok the other day, and like every other scroll, because that's the annoying thing about society today. Everything's an ad. I'm hearing that they're going to bring ads to WhatsApp. Are you kidding me? What? Anyway, right? I'm on there and I just realized there's a theme going on. There's a theme. And the theme is always women being sold things to fix something about their bodies, to fix something about who they are, about how they are. We're always being sold something to fix something. Sometimes things that you didn't even know were an issue. Sometimes things that you didn't even know something was wrong about. You didn't know something was wrong with. If it's not dark arms, is dark bums. If it's not dark bums, it's dark knuckles. If it's not dark knuckles, it's dark elbows. If it's not dark elbows, it's dark knees. If it's not dark knees, it's hairy legs. Gosh, I'm tired. Please stop selling me. Stop trying to sell women things about their insecurities. Every other scroll, everything on social media is always just, oh, you have that, you should be insecure about that. Oh, you know, if you look this way, if this happens to you, this too much. The one that really wound me up the other day was shapewear. I need to breathe. Shapewear. It's always a target. I feel like women's bodies are always being targeted in some way, shape or form. And it's so annoying. And capitalism is just running off women's insecurities constantly. And it's so annoying. It's so, like, I like manicures. I love manicures. Big up my manicure lady. Lady Well Nails. Russian manicures is the way to go. Love manicures, right? But please, it's okay not to have nails. It's okay. It's okay to be someone who doesn't get your nails done. It's okay to be someone who doesn't wear makeup. It's okay to be a natural hair girly. It's okay to be someone who doesn't wear wigs. It's okay not to have additional extensions in your hair. It is okay. And it's okay to have a belly. It's okay not to wear shapewear. Are you kidding me? And they're like, oh, when you wear the dress like that, dress doesn't look cute. But look at me, I've just worn the shapewear and it sucks me right in. Oh my gosh, my belly's so flat. One of the reasons why I hated wearing wigs, I love wigs. Wigs, weaves, whatever the case is, here for it, right? I'm here for people doing whatever it is that wants to make them happy and whatever the case is. Because I wear makeup, I've got nice nails. I don't care about these things, right? Currently got extension in my hair, don't care about these things, right? But one of the reasons why I personally didn't like wearing wigs was because I just felt I'm a wake up and go kind of girl. You know? I like to wake, that's why I love braids. And I think braids just really suit me. I can't wait to get to Lagos. But I love braids. I like to wake up and go. That's my vibe. That's the kind of person I am. I don't wear makeup all the time. I never wear makeup every episode, but because these days, actually, I'm kind of in an era now where I want to just dress up a bit more these days, right? Recently just hit me, so I'm going with the wave. I'm going with that wave. But one of the things I didn't like about wigs is that I just wanted to wake up. I wanted to wake up and see myself in the mirror and be like, oh my gosh, here I am. Skincare, get out the door. But it's okay if people want to wear that. We just can't keep saying, like, just stop, man. Stop. To all the people that are doing it, all the ads, all the apps, everybody stop. Just stop. And as a woman, stop feeling like you must get something to enhance how you look. If you've never had an issue with having dark underarms, don't let that ad. We all know what ad I'm talking about. All the girls know exactly what ad, that brand starts with an M, ends with an E. Don't let that brand make you feel insecure about it. Some of these things are natural. Some of these things are natural. And I find it draining. I find it draining that women are just always at the center of some nonsense, man. Always at the center of some nonsense. Always being sold something to. It's too much. That's my rant for this episode. That's what I've got to say for this episode. Anyway, guys, all that being said, that's it. That's it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. If you got this far, appreciate you every single time. Appreciate ya. Like I said at the start, please follow the podcast, TikTok. I'm on TikTok and on Instagram, Rewriting Life's Canvas. And if you want to write into me, you want to share a story, share an experience, say your thoughts on what you think the episode, what I've talked about, you are more than welcome to. If you want to join me on an episode as well, you are more than welcome to. Just email me, est@rewritinglifescanvas.com. And as always, you can also follow me on social media, My Own Royalty. I think that's it. Admin wise. And until then, I want to come up with a nice catchy little thing to say at the end. But until then, take care of yourself. That will always be the one thing actually to me. I think I've said that consistently from the very first episode. But until then, take care of yourself and get enough rest. And yeah, that's it. That's what I'm going to say today. I think today's been a lot. Today's been a lot that's been discussed. So I'll just end there. Take care of yourself. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.